Welcome back. So we're going to take a look at the Dallas Stars, who, of course, went to the Stanley Cup Final. There's going to be some pressure on them, and yet I don't know how much. I don't know what the expectations are going to be because, of course, they're without Bishop for most of the season, if not all of it. And Tyler Seguin's going to be out for quite a while as well. So if you're a Dallas Stars fan, and I am, there's reasons for concern. And yeah, this is the reverse retro, which on TV, I don't know that Silver Star is going to show up. I just don't know that it's going to show up. And it's going to look like they're wearing white shirts with just these stripes on them. Although I will say with the name and number, they do look pretty sharp. So their last three seasons, Dallas 92 points in 2017-2018. They gained 1 point to get to 93, but made the playoffs at the 93 points. Missed with the 92 the year before. Pushed St. Louis to a Game 7, got taken out. 2019-2020, prorated. Their points total would have been 97 over 82 games. And for them, the Stanley Cup Final was big, it was great, it was an awesome run, and now it does kind of create maybe an unrealistic expectation. I don't know how many people have that expectation, though. I think Dallas fans are probably pretty realistic about their chances for this year. Out of the lineup from last year, Corey Perry, Matthias Janmark, and Roman Polak. And I'm going to say that Perry, while during the regular season it was a mixed bag, and he kind of fit and he kind of didn't at the same time, in the playoffs he was great. And they're going to miss that. So if they're going to have any kind of a run in them for this year for Dallas, losing Corey Perry's big. Now, he's still not signed anywhere, so I'm not ruling out Dallas might, circle back on him. But I would think if they wanted to, if they were going to, they would have by now. With the loss of Sagan, I'm kind of surprised they haven't been more active, but, they're where they are. The Hockey News, their power ranking has them 10th overall in the NHL. Sports Forecaster has them 4th in the Central. I actually have them 5th in the Central. And I was going to throw them at 4th, and then some stuff changed over the last couple of days. I'm like, nah, probably 5th. Because I was on the fence about whether or not I'd have them 4th or 5th, and I'm like, nah, it's probably 5th place for them. And again, it's hard to repeat what they did last year, and losing your starting goaltender, losing your number one center before the season's even started. That's huge. Now, Sagan, of course, had a tough time for Dallas offensively, but I thought he was solid defensively. I thought he made some nice plays. He was even shot blocking. So he wasn't as invisible as people might think if they just look at the scoring statistics. Not saying he had a great playoff, but it wasn't as bad as the scoring statistics would tell you. Now, in the too low category, Jamie Benn did not score enough. 69 games, 19 goals, 20 assists, 39 points. I don't know if he bounces back, but if Dallas is going to stay in the mix, he kind of needs to. This is a team that did not have a fantastic attack last year, and if Jamie Benn continues to decline as he gets older, which players usually do, that's going to be problematic for a Dallas team that's already without Sagan for almost all of the year. Kiviranta, 11 games, 1 goal during the regular season. Now, there's a lot of hype around Yoel Kiviranta, and I get it. I'm going to say I temper that sort of expectation. Same with Gurianov. I think they're good players. I don't know what the ceiling is, but I don't expect numerous hat tricks from Kiviranta this year and electrifying goals. I think he's going to be a decent player. I think he's going to put up points, but don't get too enamored with what he showed in the playoffs there. Miro Heiskanen, 68 games, 8 goals, 27 assists, 35 points. I think his points per game is going to go up this year. I think Heiskanen's going to continue to generate more and more buzz year in and year out. And with Klingberg and Heiskanen, Dallas is pretty set on the blue line for a long time to come. The rookie to watch, Thomas Harley. Harley made his debut during the playoffs. I thought he was okay. I thought he looked good. Joel Hanley, though, while I don't have him on the board, because where would I put him? Hanley, I'm very impressed with what Hanley was able to do when there was no expectations of him when he was forced into the lineup because they kept losing defensemen. Goals for, 2.58 per game, which was 26th last year. Their offense wasn't good enough. Their defense was fantastic, 2.52 goals against, which was second in the National Hockey League. They've got to find more goals. Power play, 21.11%, which was 13th. The power play, honestly, was pretty good considering the offense sputtered as much as it did. The weird part is the penalty kill kind of had to make up for it, so they were mediocre. 79.72%, which is 17th. So it is weird that their offense wasn't very good, but their power play was better. Their defense was excellent. Their penalty kill wasn't as good. Big additions. Pesic is the one addition I'm able to find at this stage for Dallas. This is not a team that's really gone out and done a lot in the offseason. I'm not saying they didn't try. It's possible that Jim Nill tried and there just wasn't anything out there that they liked, or the players they reached out to just ended up going elsewhere. I wouldn't rule Dallas out for a potential addition before the season starts, but we haven't got there yet. Their core six, this is a tough one. So there's actually 7 guys on the board because Sagan's still, not that old, but he's out, right? So Hintz, Faksa, and Gurianov are the ones I went with. Rope Hintz is another one that I think probably gets overrated at times. Pretty good forward, though. Faksa, I think, is capable of more offense than he's shown thus far in the NHL, but we're getting to the point where I don't know that ever shows up. And Gurianov, he scores goals, doesn't really get assists, so if you have him in your pool, it had better be one of those pools that counts goals for more than assists. And if it's straight points, Gurianov is going to end up being underwhelming for you. Klingberg and Heiskanen on the blue lines, or on the blue line, they're always on the ice, one or the other. And that's something that Dallas has going for them, that there aren't a lot of teams that have that. But Heiskanen and Klingberg are fantastic. And then in net, Ottinger's going to be the goalie in the future at some point. He will get his chance to back up Hudobin to start the season. That makes me a little nervous. You have Hudobin, you have Ottinger. I do have some concerns. Ottinger looked decent in the one very short appearance he had in the playoffs. It's not like you can look at that game and go, oh, this gives me a really clear idea of what he's going to be or who he's going to be. But he looked okay. So hopefully he's ready to go. He was a first-round draft pick not that long ago. If he ends up being a pretty good goaltender, Dallas has a better chance. Their coach, of course, Rick Bowness, is sticking around, which was the worst-kept secret. He was really enjoying himself in the playoffs, and it was very obvious that he was enjoying coaching that team and that team was playing well for him. He's a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's emotional during games, and I think he's a very good coach. I don't know that he was always a very good coach, because I remember him coaching other teams throughout the years, decades. I think he's matured. I think he's become a better coach as he's gotten older. Of course, Jim Nill, the general manager, extended that job offer to him. I think it was the conference final where Nill said it's his job if he wants it. So it was all about what Bowness wanted to do. Dallas was completely fine with him sticking around. If you're a glass half full kind of hockey fan, you can look at the 2 great defenders they have with Klingberg and Heiskanen and say they're going to keep the goals against down. You can also look at the experience they got in the playoffs, and a guy like Pavelski still being there, and the leadership that he can provide. And again, can they get back? I think they'll have a hard time doing it, but I didn't have them going to the final anyways. I had them going out early. So who knows? Maybe Dallas can prove me wrong again. I love it when they prove me wrong. I think my favorite part of that is when people go, how do you feel now? You probably feel stupid that they proved you wrong. No, not generally, no. I'm pretty happy they proved me wrong, so I would love for them to prove me wrong again this year. Oh, shucks, they made the playoffs. Oh, no. Glass half empty, there's no Bishop, there's no Sagan. I know Bishop gets hurt a lot. I know. But for this long, to be out for most of or all of the regular season, that's a long time. And I love Hudobin. I love what he did in the playoffs. He has never been a regular season starting goaltender. He has never had to play as many games as he may have to play over this shorter period of time in the regular season. And without Sagan, it further exposes that they don't really have a first-line center when Sagan's out. I like Pavelski a lot. I think Pavelski's great. Pavelski's also 36 years of age, and his goals last year only had 14 in the regular season. I don't have him on the low side of things because I don't think that necessarily comes up this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he scores 10 regular season goals. Huge playoff performer, a guy who shows up in those big games. I'm not sure that over a regular season I would want to be counting on him as number 1 center. Number 2, okay. Number 3, might be perfect. Number 1, not as much. So a lot of this is going to fall on probably Faksa. Maybe Delandria jumps in. I don't have Delandria on the board, but maybe. We'll see. Also, Ben and Radulov are a year older. Radulov didn't have a great year either. And so they're going to hope for a bounce back from him. Sports forecasters projecting a bounce back. I'm a little more pessimistic. At times, Radulov looked great during the playoffs, but I remember during the regular season, just bad penalties, frustration for him. I'm honestly kind of surprised he's still with Dallas, that Dallas didn't move him in the offseason. But he's still there, a year older, and we'll see whether or not he finishes out the year with Dallas and what happens with him. The next big hype, I put Maverick Bourque up there. I do think that for Dallas, there's going to be openings for kids to come into the lineup, and Bourque very well could be one of those forwards. And with the name Maverick being drafted by Dallas, it's a little on the nose, don't you think? So, well, who are we going to do? I don't know, this kid's named Maverick. Perfect. Come to Texas. Done. We will draft all children named Maverick, even if it's not spelled like Maverick normally would be. But yeah, Maverick Bourque is the property of the Dallas Stars, and we'll see him in a Dallas jersey. Not this year, obviously, but at some point soon. And he may be a guy that gets a lot of hype. One guy that won is Riley Tufte. What happened there? Their month-by-month record, it was shaky out of the gate. They were 5-8-1. Then they went 10-2-1 in November. In December, they were 7-4-2. January, they were 6-4. February, 9-3-3. And then in March, they finished out 0-3-1. This was a team that wouldn't be able to score for 10, 15, 20 games. And then they'd score a bunch over 10 games. And then they go the next 10 with very few. And then they go... It was so wildly inconsistent and yet reliably inconsistent that you knew, okay, so they haven't scored anything in 10 games, so we're going to get a big night tonight. And they'll take off. So really a Jekyll and Hyde kind of team. Now against their own division, their record, not too shabby. Against Carolina, they were 2-0 last year. Against Columbus, 0-1. Against Chicago, 2-1. Against Detroit, 1-1. I'm glad to see Dallas and Detroit, division rivals once again. Nashville, they were 2-2. Against Tampa Bay, they were 2-0. And against Florida, they were 0-1. So state of Florida, 2-1 in general. Their overall record, 9-6. Against their projected divisional opponents in the Central. A Central division which includes Carolina, Columbus, Tampa, Florida, Detroit, all Eastern time zone. And Nashville, which is pretty far east, but not in the Eastern time zone. So, the most 2020 division ever, and we'll see how Dallas does in it. I want to be wrong. I want them to end up like third in the division. But I don't see them being better than Nashville. I don't see them being better than Columbus. And of course, Tampa and Carolina are likely going to be 1 and 2 in that division. But we'll see. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.